Doge is a bit stuck right now. Why is it stuck, and when should we expect another move coming up? That's what we're going to talk about in this video right now. I'm looking at the daily chart for Doge. We are wrestling right now with a couple of critical areas in Doge. We have this gray area that sits above 0.086 roughly to about 0.088. That's just a rough estimate. I'm really calling it 0.09 because that is the nice round number that's close. So I'm calling it 0.09. We have gone up through this level back in, well, we hit the level back in November of 2023, blasted through it in December. And then you can see the market reacts just about every time we come down to this level. We broke through it, went back up and tested it, broke through it, straight back down. And then we've kind of been putting a good test to it the last week, trying desperately to get through this gray area, this gray level of resistance. And we did close above it on the 19th of February, which I was very excited to see. I was hoping that would be a reason to move higher and to move on up to the next level of trading, which would be about about 0.1 roughly, and hopefully challenging the highs we saw back in December. But we've just seen some softness in the Bitcoin or in the crypto market, mainly caused by Bitcoin. And since Bitcoin has run out of gas, at least temporarily, and is stalled at this 52,000 level, these altcoins are starting to kind of drift down. They've kind of run out of momentum. And you can see this blue line going through Doge as well on the daily chart. That's also another level that Doge is wrestling with. If I zoom out on the daily, and this is really zoomed out, this time back here where this blue line starts is back in November of 2022. But you can see the top of this range touches this wick back here, the top of this wick, the top of the wick back in April 23, and kind of gives us a downward trend line. And then it's got an equivalent line on the bottom, even again back in January of 23 and June of 23. You can see the trend line here, and the price in between it is lower highs and lower lows, which is the definition of a downtrend, kind of pushing price down, or at least a reflection of the downward moving price. We did break out of this trend line back in December, but we have unfortunately come back into it. We broke out briefly here. That was the weekend of a Twitter rumor coming out around Doge, and I won't get into what that was. It wasn't meaningful. It turned out to be nothing. And Doge, actually, I'm talking about this break right here above, no, excuse me, this break back in January above the line. And I didn't think it was anything because it was just rumors on Twitter. And of course, Doge immediately reacted and retraced back into this blue line. All that to say, we've got two levels here we're wrestling with in Doge. It's the blue line from back in 2022 and this 0.09 level. And again, until we can get above and break above this 0.09, we really, that's the next step in the process for Doge moving higher. And this blue line, doggone, this thing seems to keep holding us down over and over again. It gives us a level of resistance that gets it hard to get even to this 0.087 level. And it seems like by the time Doge breaks this blue line and gets above to this gray line, it's even, or this gray resistance area, it's already ran out of momentum and just can't break above it. So those are some levels to watch. That's what we've got to get above before Doge can move higher. And I don't know if that's going to happen right now. It could. Crypto is very, it's very chaotic at times. It's hard to predict at times. So it could take off at any moment. But I'm going to show you some things that aren't looking really good on Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin has stalled, as I mentioned. We've been in this range of about 51,000 to 53,000. We've been in this range for going on about 10 days now. This 52,000 level roughly has been the level of resistance. And I've got a gray area marked here of support that Bitcoin is playing with. It is from about 50,300 to 50,600. It's pretty clear why this level's here. The bottom of this level is the top of these two wicks, right? And the top of this level is the bottom of this wick back on the 17th, the bottom of this wick on the 21st, the bottom of this wick yesterday. And even today, as we're printing a new day, we've just started the candle as far as TradingView is concerned. We've already touched this gray level again. And I've got this blue line indicating, lower lows. I mean, we've had 3 red days in a row. I don't know what today's going to look like. There's obviously 2 options here, and it's always hard to tell what those options are, or which one's going to happen. We could break out and move higher. And sometimes you see that when you see this downtrend kind of thing, that if you can actually close or break outside of this downtrend, you can actually move on higher. But you also have the problem of, if you kick a door 4 times, it's more likely to fall than if you kicked it once. And we're on our 4th time. These aren't lining up because TradingView wants to line up with the wick itself. But we're kicking this door for the 4th day in a row. Seems like it very well could break. If I didn't know the power and the positivity and the moves that Bitcoin has made, and I was just looking blindly at this chart, it would show every indication that we're going to break below this gray level and move on down to 50,000 and perhaps lower. That would fall in line with historical price action before Bitcoin halving. We do have the halving coming up here in April 20th is when it is estimated. And generally before the halving, or not generally, historically before the halvings, we have seen a run up by Bitcoin, which we clearly saw here. And then about 4 to 6 weeks before the halving, you generally see a 10 to 20, 30% drop in Bitcoin before the halving. And a 20% drop would bring us down to about 41,000, 42,000, this area here. And then historically, we consolidate through the halving after that retrace, right? And then about a month or 2, really. It can vary, but a month, 2 or 3 after the halving is when the much anticipated and much celebrated bull run officially begins. Okay, it's after the halving. And that's when Bitcoin tends to take off and start making its all-time highs over the next 12 months, okay? That has historically happened on the previous halvings. So many are expecting that to happen here, and we're getting some softness in Bitcoin that would indicate we may be at the beginnings of that stage, okay? And then a third reason, look at the RSI. If you're familiar with the RSI, it's a pretty common indicator across financial instruments. We're at overbought territory, which generally means we're extended, and usually, often, maybe not certainly not every time, but often, once we're extended at this level, it means that the price is going to retrace back down to the moving average means. So that's 1, 2, 3 reasons: the softness and the lower lows here, lower highs here, the historical activity of Bitcoin before halving, and RSI being overbought. Several indications that we're going to see a fall in Bitcoin here. If that happens, I got bad news for Doge and really most other altcoins, really. Unless there's a new altcoin out there that's pretty new and is just pumping based on new money coming into it, these mature coins like Doge, ADA, Solana, those like that, they're really following Bitcoin right now, okay? So if Bitcoin does that retrace into the 40, 45,000 level, we're going to have to endure it with Doge. I mean, we're just going to have to endure it and watch and see how far it's going to go. I'm not going to worry about that yet. That's several videos down. Well, I think it's several videos down the road. But Bitcoin. I mean, I could wake up tomorrow morning and I could literally see Bitcoin at 53,000, right? And if Bitcoin over the weekend prints green bars up to 53,000, that changes the narratives and the possibility for us moving higher. But and that could happen, by the way. But there's too many indicators that that's not going to happen right now. It would be against the probabilities if it did. But Bitcoin's entire life has been against probabilities. So I always have to throw that caveat of kind of wait and see. But if we do fall, just a heads up. Doge is stuck. Bitcoin is stuck. Eventually, Bitcoin's going to get unstuck, and that's going to affect Doge, obviously, whichever way. So watch this 0.09 level. If Bitcoin can move up, watch it. We've got to close above it. That will hopefully set us up this time for a break above. And if this is the high for Bitcoin before pre-halving, you're going to have to be patient with Doge and pretty much any coin you're in. We're going to have to be patient and wait for the better times that I believe are certainly ahead in 2024 for Doge and crypto in general. All right, that is my take on Doge. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to come back, like, and subscribe if you will, and I will catch up with you next time.